Stop laughing, Mike. Now we're live, so now we can't even start over. It's a tough start. It's a tough start. We got a fresh new episode. South Carolina heads to College Station to take on Texas A&M, and we have our buddy Mike Bratton, Brunch with Bratton, live Friday edition. Did no marketing or advertising for it, but come join us, come hang. We'll talk all things Carolina football and go over the SEC slate for Week 12. Locked on Gamecock starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler, now a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one ranked sports podcast network in America. Round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. We got a great show for you today. We're going to keep it casual, keep it fun. It's Friday. Hopefully you haven't started drinking yet, but I guess it is noon on the East Coast. We got our good buddy Mike Bratton here, and we're going to talk about South Carolina A&M, answer some of your questions in the comments, and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let me bring in my buddy, Cousin Mike.
Carolina still has a football team?
Don't start. Don't start. I do love this. Let's go gig these weirdos. Yeah, man. So they're going to College Station this weekend. Obviously, the worst. They're gonna go to Midnight Yell, the male cheerleaders, all the finger guns and jazz hands, all that kind of stuff. Quinn the Cox already says, "Get him out of here." Initial thoughts on this game, Mike. It's a 20-point point spread right now. I don't think anyone's given Carolina a ton of potential to win this game. What do you think about it?
Start drinking early and drink often, I would say in this man. I mean, normally I think Carolina's got a special teams edge a lot of times in most of these matchups, but not even here, unfortunately, with Coach Elko pulling crazy fake punts.
Yeah.
They're returning punts for touchdowns. Casey Concepcion, he's been outstanding. They've got a really good field goal kicker. I don't know, man. It's going to be difficult. But, hey, here's the thing. A&M can be got on the ground.
Yeah.
So this has to be a phase-on game. We got to get, obviously, Sellers going. And we don't have to look much further than last year for Laura Sellers. He must have broken like 8 or 9 sack attempts from this Texas A&M defense. So, that could kind of slice both ways, though, right? Where Carolina's got some confidence, but also if you're hoping this is going to be a trap game, if I'm sitting there and I'm Texas A&M's defense, I'd say, well, heck, this guy tore us a new one last year. We really got to get locked in. So I don't know if that's an advantage one way or another, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I appreciate that. This is a family-friendly show, so I appreciate I just realized what your podcast name says. No, I think that's a fair statement. They've given up in games, like in some moments. They did it against UTSA where they gave up like over 6-7 yards a carry.
Right.
And I think like what was more surprising to me than the actual point spread, right, was if you look at some of the numbers from like the props and stuff like that, which like Vegas usually knows what they're talking about. And you look at some of the numbers from those, it's like Faison's at like 34.5 yards, Harbor's at 39.5, Vandrevius Jacobs at around 30.5 yards. That part was most shocking to me because I get Lenore's has been pretty limited this year in terms of like his production. Like he's averaging only like 188 yards per game, which is very, very low in comparison to what we thought he was going to be. But I don't know if this is like where you're going to find a breakout game. It just feels like 20 points is way too high. I did a show on this yesterday, Mike, and I was like, it's a sleepy 11 a.m. kick. Like, it's 11 a.m. right now. I've had coffee and Celsius. I'm sleepy. A&M fans were furious at the notion that they might not be up for this game. And they were in here doing their little finger guns and jazz hands and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, boo-whip, boo-whip. The weirdest bunch, man. Just the weird. Besides Billy Lucci, just the weirdest bunch. And Robert Behrens, he's great. But it feels like with what they've had so far, and I kind of maintain this, man. Like they have been patted on the back so much over the past couple of weeks, and that's like an unfamiliar territory for them. And they deserve to be they're a very good team. But to think that like last week they went on the road and just, destroyed Missouri. This is a much better quarterback than Missouri has. And there's some parts of this team I feel like that they could maybe get some things going.
Yeah, and to your point, Chris, I've gotten emails this week saying, please stop hyping up Texas.
Yeah.
Not that I'm sitting here hyping them up, but I think they got a shot to go to the playoff.
Yeah.
I know that's got nothing to do with what you're talking about, but who are these emails coming from? They're coming from A&M fans who are, my goodness, you're 9-0, you're number 3 in the playoff, arguably could be 2 or 1, and they're sitting here thinking about Texas and how someone dare say they could sneak into the playoff. You know what I mean? It's in them. The 8-4, the battered Aggie syndrome is in there, whether they want to admit it or not. And this is the first time in their lives that they've been 9-0 in the regular season.
Right.
I know Jimbo won 9 games, but that was, first of all, the COVID year, which didn't count. And that counts the bowl game, getting the 9th win.
Yeah.
So this is an unfamiliar territory. It's always easier to make that climb than it is to stay up there. That's something to think about, isn't it? Heading into a matchup like this.
I do think that like it's not crazy to think they're already talking about Texas, because I know their fans are, and what you do inside the building versus outside the building is very different, and you cannot sit here and like position how a team is based on how their fans are acting. Like outside of like maybe Tennessee baseball. I think Tennessee baseball is the only one that I feel like they are like if the fans were a team, just the way they played under Tony V. But anyway, that's a whole other story. I think that this game is going to be won by Texas A&M. But I just think it's crazy. And I see this right here. Palmer Boy's movie commentaries, he said 38-17 A&M. I could be talked into that. I could be talked into that. I just feel like, I think what I said was like 31-21. I just feel like they're going to like have a couple things figured out this week. Now, I will tell you this too, Mike, the injury report came out last night, and this is an offensive line that's been awful all year. Kason Henry, your best offensive lineman who plays right tackle, he's been out for about 4 games now, maybe even more. And now you say that just Josiah Thompson, the left tackle, former 5-star kid that's really, really good, or it was really, really good, has not really played that well since.
I was going to call that out.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad since he's been here, but hopefully he's continuing to grow and figure it out. He is now questionable for the game. So you knew you were going to have your hands full with these edge rushers and this defensive line, especially with Elko, but I don't know if it makes it worse or not because it's already so bad.
Well, how about this, Chris? I don't know if you've considered this at all, but there's a lot of insinuation, and there's that. This isn't against the rules or anything, but that A&M knows the plays of the opponents because they're really good at, this. I guess, film analysis, obviously, and stealing signals. I wonder if that plays any kind of edge here for this game with a new offensive coordinator. How much can you truly change it up if you're the South Carolina Gamecocks, and how much do you change the signals? Because it's they're not going to revolutionize the offense in 2 weeks' time, but how much do they have to dumb it down? How quickly does A&M catch on to what they're doing? I think that is. Am I making sense here? I don't know how complex Carolina can make it, given all the other changes. And again, that could be an edge to A&M, or it could not be. I don't know.
My biggest thing is Mike Shula's gone. So, I don't know how big his playbook was, but it couldn't have been that difficult to find those plays. Hey guys, they're running 2 guys deep and no one else can block. It's second and 12. They're going to run 2 guys on the left side to run 30 yards downfield and let Lenoris run for his life. Like that's the call. That's the play call the entire season. So, it's 1st and 10. Let's go inside trap. Let's go. I'm very excited to see what Mike Furry has to do. I'm a big Furry guy. Everyone knows.
I know that.
Yeah. So usually I wait till the off season to go to the conventions, but right now we got a Furry convention this weekend in College Station. Let's pay some bills real quick. I'm going to take you out of here. You can make noise in the background. Mute yourself. Guys, keep dropping your picks in the comments or anything like that. We're going to preview some of the SEC stuff as well. I like this from Trap God, 34-27 South Carolina. Shula had max 10 plays he'd pick from. I swear, I think that's probably accurate. I think that is actually probably accurate. All right, real quick, want to pay some bills and give a shout out. This is actually one of my favorite things we do every single week, and it is the return of Who Delivered from DoorDash. Listen, it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP, Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Now, usually we talk about a play or a player or a big moment in a game. South Carolina's coming off a bye week, so that didn't happen. I'm going to give the player of the week and who delivered most. I'll give it to Shane Beamer strictly because, one, he gave us content to talk about, of course. And then, two, you talk about him firing Mike Shula. Maybe a better answer if we have to talk about a player, it wouldn't be football. It'd be Michi Johnson and what he was able to do in that come-from-behind win against Southern Miss. Fantastic close out to that game. I think he hit 4 threes in the final 4 minutes and put up 13 points to close out that game, sent it to overtime and win. Just like Michi Johnson delivered for South Carolina, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You could be saving up to $250, including a $100 DoorDash credit if you stack this up all season long. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period ends on 11/18. That is pretty soon, so make sure you're still doing that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Pause for a second so we can add some stuff into the audio for those listening not on YouTube, and we'll be right back with more Locked On Gamecocks. Dogs.
Quiet down. It's okay.
Mike, we can hear you. All right.
Yeah.
We're back. I hope South Carolina shows improvement now that Shula is gone. That is from Brandon Mitchum. I agree with that as well. Give me a score prediction on this, or if you want to talk about some other SEC, because we've already done the preview show. I do want to talk about some of the stuff that I think we kind of covered a lot of the South Carolina stuff. I want to talk about some of the other SEC games going into the weekend. Also, I wanted to ask you this: the coaching carousel stuff that's happening right now. It feels more and more like Lane Kiffin. I know this is a South Carolina show, but it's also one of the most talked about things that's happening, and everyone seems to have an opinion on it. Are you hearing anything with the Lane Kiffin stuff? Because the more and more I see it, the more it sounds like he's going to Florida.
Welcome to 3 weeks ago, Chris. He's gone. He gone. Now, here's the tricky part. The timeline.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing, as crazy as this sounds, he's going to make his decision before the playoffs start. So we could have, for the first time ever, a head coach say, I'm leaving, but I'd like to coach the playoff. I mean, do they let him? I mean, how awkward does that get? And what if they keep winning and they advance further? I mean, literally both sides have to know. Florida has to know. Ole Miss has to know, because Ole Miss can't wait till the coaching carousel stops spinning and then this is a tricky spot. And I don't think it's a given. I really don't. I don't think it's a given he's gone. For all we know, Kiffin, I wouldn't put it past Kiffin to troll everybody. I mean, heck, he's hosting Florida recruits this week.
Yeah, that's unreal.
Who's he recruiting them for? Ole Miss or Florida? I don't know, but a decision I think is going to come a lot sooner than the season coming to an end for Ole Miss, which is just wild.
It's interesting because I think they're going to go 11-1 the regular season. I don't think if he makes a decision, I don't think he's going to tell. But the biggest hang up, I think it was Neil McCready brought this up from Ole Miss, and they're either rivals or 247, whichever account it is. And he brought the point. He's like, we're starting to hear like actual dollar amounts. And when you start hearing dollar amounts, that's when it starts becoming a little bit more real. And so the dollar amount that's been floated around is $15 million. And the rumor is that $15 million is not for his contract, but it's what he wants in NIL money for every year, which they are willing to give him. And then the other thing is $13.5 million is what he's rumored to potentially be getting paid, which would make him the highest paid coach in the country, which is also kind of wild. A couple of South Carolina things we have in the comments here I want to address. I know one person said, has it been confirmed? This is Ladarius Wells says, has it been confirmed that Lenore is going to transfer? He has not.
He's headed to Tennessee, guys.
Yeah, totally. Well, let me get your opinion on it, because I don't think we've talked about it with you yet, which is, do you think, do you think he's going to go pro, or do you think he's going to return?
I think if he's smart, I think what he does, and he could still return to Carolina, but if he's smart, I think what he should do is pull one of those kind of like Carson Beck last year, where you declare and put your name in the portal, and just see all your options. What are the NFL people telling you? What's South Carolina willing to? They got to. I think more importantly for Sellers, he's got to know who the offensive coordinator is, the quarterback's coach, and help around him if he stays at Carolina. Meanwhile, Miami, Tennessee, all these other places, what can they offer him?
Good point, actually, Tennessee.
Just keep all his options on the table.
Yeah, I mean, he's not very prototypical of any quarterback Tennessee's had, especially under Heupel. But I do think I think what you said makes the most sense. Like, declare and enter your name in the portal and get all of your options out there, because I didn't even know you could do that until Carson Beck did it. And here's the thing too, is like, we heard this last year and people thought it was crazy. People were like, there's no way he was paying $4 million for Lenore Sellers. And then you find out that Duke paid a 2-year contract for $4 million each year for Darius Mensah, or Darian Mensah. And it's like, like there are teams like it's so different now, because like everyone kind of looks at this whole thing with NIL through this lens of, well, Ohio State's going to go spend $20 million. Oregon's going to go spend $20 million. This team is going to go pay way too much. Texas Tech's going to spend way too much on these positions. And no one really looks at the fact that like there are other schools like Duke, which is like, we have a donor base that I'm assuming has millions and millions and millions of dollars if they wanted to invest. And so if you have a coach that says, here's what I need for the total amount, $10 million to Duke alumni is not crazy, and I want to spend $4 million of that on a proven quarterback, there are teams that are going to be able to do that. And then a lot of those teams are going to be able to make a difference because it's the most important position in all sports. So to think that just because he's had a bad year that Lenoris won't have options or offers is kind of crazy. I'm hoping that he just comes back and plays another year here, but I also think that you have to nail that coordinator hire if he does.
And I mean, who knows? This all could be for naught, Chris. They could come back and tell him, hey, if you perform as well as we anticipate you at the combine and things of that nature, you're a lock to go in the top 10. He'll probably just go, and he probably should.
It'll be interesting. I think if he has a first round grade, he would definitely go. I just don't see anyone giving him a first round grade. But here's the thing too. There's no more proven track record of this sounds bad, and I'm not saying it in a negative way to Lenoris, because I think he's fantastic. He's just had a bad year. There's no proven track record of stupidity more in professional sports than the NFL draft. Like you think about all the years that I remember one year the Raiders got Darius Hayward-Bay because he ran a 4.3 flat. And then you can't teach speed. And they're like, and then they were going over his draft grade, and it was like his hands were an F. And I was like, hands is a pretty big part of playing receiver. Like that's not great.
That's the same thing we say about Cousin Shane. You just can't teach speed.
That's very, very true. Okay. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the games, stuff like that. If you guys have any, I'm good with Cutter Woods. If he leaves. So here we go, Mike. Got somebody saying, hello there, cousin Mike.
Todd, he's a good one. I've drank beers with Todd.
Love that. If Lawrence transfers, I'll never watch CFB again. I mean, don't say that, Brandley. What are we going to talk about on the show? That's the stuff he leaves.
What about his brother?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if he can play quarterback, but he's been a pretty good receiver. All right. We're going to take a quick little break, pay some more bills, and close out today's show. I appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate Mike also joining us.
Making a mixed drink over here.
Already, I love it. Before we go, give me your best bet of the week. Not you, Mike, but in the comments, give me your best bet of the week or an upset pick that you think is going to happen this weekend. Oklahoma goes to Bama. Texas goes to Georgia. If there's a betting thing I need to follow, that someone's making a good bet this weekend, please let me know that as well. And we'll get those when we come back. Before we go to break, I want to give a quick shout out as I stutter and stammer through this ad read. I want to give thank you. Quick shout out to our friends at FanDuel. Mike, the NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, You can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. I personally am excited because I'm going to hammer Louisville tonight against Clemson. We'll talk about that also when we come back right after this. So good with technology. All right, we're back. Let's close out today's show with this. Give me a score prediction, first and foremost, for South Carolina A&M. Mine was 31-21. I do think they keep it closer, and I think that you will see A&M probably take their foot off the gas. But what is your score prediction for the game?
38-13. Give me them Aggies.
38-13?
A&M's elite. Carolina, not this year. But, hey, let me ask you that, because I'm sure you've talked about it. I'm sure the audience has talked about it. What's the deal with, like, fans hating on Shane Beamer? Because, again, I get it. This has not been the year you wanted, but this is life in the SEC now, where you lose one here, you lose one there. I get it. I don't think Carolina is, like, horribly coached team overall. I know this year you could question that, but I don't know, man. I'm just telling you. Take it from a Tennessee guy who ran off Fulmer, and I'm not saying Shane Beamer's Fulmer. He might be better, actually, because Fulmer had a lot
of that's for sure.
But, yeah, but you can fire a coach that's good.
Yeah.
You can go through 3 coaches that are not so good, and it wrecks your program for 20 years.
Well, I think that I would say this, the difference between that right now, and I like Beamer, and I was mortified because we have like an AI agent, a little peel behind the onion here, for Locked On. It's great. They put up Rick Reels for us. It's really, really cool, but everything is like AI generated. And I think I made the comment in one of the shows I did earlier this week. I was like, it's a loser mentality to talk about what something happened from 3 years ago. And the AI generated title that it came up was loser, exclamation point. And I was like, no. So I think the frustration with Shane Beamer is he doesn't accept accountability as much as I wish he would. Sometimes there's a maturity factor. Like I said this last year, like we all hate Brett Bielema for South Carolina right now because of how much of a dickhead he was, excuse my language, in that game last year. But like the frustrating part of that was he's out here doing the same thing over and over, and it's getting under Beamer's skin so badly that he still isn't making adjustments. It's like you can be mad at Bielema all you want, but also like figure out how to beat what he's doing, and he's just subbing in people correctly because you can't make an adjustment. I think that part's frustrating. And then the point you made about Philip Fulmer, my nose is very itchy right now, and this is not a good look. I know. Okay. I know. Don't even say it.
We got to get you into rehab.
That totally. That's me. Locked On. Never mind. So I think the thing that's when you bring up the Tennessee situation is I think you have a very valid point, but where Tennessee was coming from too is this place of like they have a national footprint in recruiting for one. They have for 30 plus years. They were competing for SEC championships. They were competing for national championships, and that's just not where South Carolina is right now. And like getting rid of Beamer, it could be bad, but I think of like if the next 3 coaches are going 7-5, and that's the down part, then it's like, well, I mean, like that's kind of what you're doing now, and like
no, I'm here to tell you that is not the floor. Tennessee 7-5 was a good year for a lot of these. So, for Butch Jones, Dooley, Pruitt. Yeah, I mean, it could get a heck of a lot worse. And this conference, man. This conference will kill you.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, that part is fair. Listen, I like Beamer. I think he's the guy that needs to be here for next year, especially. I think that he had like I don't think they're asking for much. I think it's like you have to go win 7 games, and like this team could go 4-8 this year. Like that's not off the table. I'm hoping they go 5-7, but they could easily go 4-8. And the frustration is that I mean, dude, it could go 3-9. Like it's the frustration ends up being though, you're in charge of the hires. Like you're in charge. Coach Orgeron or Ed Orgeron, Coach O was a little bit of like a buffoon at times off the field, but he kept Dave Aranda as his DC. He had Steve Ensminger as his OC, and he made those priorities when he went to meet with with like the LSU board of trustees or whoever it was, and he had his interview, and he was like, "This is who I want to hire. This is how much it's going to take. I want to pay Dave Aranda $2.5 million, and I'll make sure I only get paid $4 million right now." The discrepancy can be pretty close in terms of like payment to him versus what the head coach is making, as long as we're winning games, because that's what's important. So I don't think like Beamer's always taking care of his coaches really well, but like there's clearly an issue that he has with hiring a good OC, and he hasn't been able to do it.
What about Dow Loggins?
He was good for 6 games.
Who hired him?
Shane Beamer, but he was good for 6 games.
It was a hell of a 6 games to me.
It was a hell of a 6 games. Oh man, that was like the peak. It felt so great. All right, let's answer some of these questions and get into some of the I know you got some picks for this week as well. I don't mind this one here from Queen of the Cox. Take whatever directional school UK is playing. Dude, Tennessee Tech is like undefeated, aren't they? And they're
10-0.
And they're a 20.5-point underdog against Kentucky. I don't think that's a bad pick. I like this. I don't like the score because I think the score's too high. But Oklahoma over Bama, I think, is very, very, very possible.
Possible, but it ain't gonna happen. Man, I would love to see you cry them Bama roll tears, as I love to say. Yeah. But no, I'm right there. I think it's more like 23-20 Bama.
Okay. I think that Oklahoma's defense, and they're coming off a bye, and they beat the crap out of Bama last year too. So if Lenore's didn't leave for $4 million last year, that's a pretty strong point. Somebody did ask earlier, Mike, I can't see it here to post.
Well, I think to answer that question, because uncertainty at coordinator, lack of surrounding talent around him, and I mean, even the biggest Gamecock fan has got to say he's regressed this year.
Yeah.
So those are all reasons that I would look elsewhere. And I'm not saying he's not coming back, but those would be reasons not to come back.
And I want to reiterate what Mike's saying here, because it's a good point. I think it gets lost in translation a lot. Everything you just said is fair. It doesn't mean you think he's leaving. And I think that's a big thing. But if you were to ask me, objectively speaking, hey, why would this happen? Yeah, I could come up with some reasons why. I mean, but I also
now what Beamer should be prioritizing, and I'm sure he is, go out there, go get a coordinator that has a track record of developing guys, quarterbacks specifically, to get to the NFL, and you put that in front of Lenore Sellers and say, this guy can develop you better than anybody.
Yeah.
Big reason to stay.
Yeah, agreed. And it also benefits you. You don't have to make the hire based on Lenore's, but it's like, dude, if you find a guy who can build off of this guy's skill set and go win you games with him, it makes it would make the team better, because Lenore's playing better obviously makes the team better. So I think that's a good point too. Somebody asked earlier, who do you think is going to be LSU's next coach?
Oh, Ed Orgeron. No.
That'd be awesome. Run it back.
I don't think they know. I don't think they have any clue. And I'm sure you've seen this, Chris. I don't know if the audience has seen it, but Nick Saban is the current betting odds favorites. That tells me two things. Those betting odds are completely worthless. Mm-hmm. That'd be number one. And number two is LSU does not have a realistic candidate right now because of all the turmoil. But if I had to put my feet to the fire, who's going to be the next coach? But again, is this going to happen? Probably not. But shot in the dark. I'm just throwing a dart at the wall here. Give me Lincoln Riley, Southern Cal coach.
Yeah, his name has been floated around a lot. I thought it was going to be more towards Florida, but that is interesting. Back to and this person was interesting too. Josh Pate says they haven't even started the hiring process. So did Chris Marler, Queen of the Cox. We talk about it all the time. I'm over here in Baton Rouge, guys. Which I know somebody a couple weeks ago was very upset about my living coordinates of me living here and not in Columbia.
I hate it.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, but this is a tough one. Imagine saying in August, I hope we go 5-7. That part sucks. I agree with this as well. So I want to get back to this because I want to talk more picks and bets and stuff like that, because I'm a degenerate. And there's a lot of action this weekend. I wrote an article over at LouisianaSports.net, shameless plug. And every week, Mike, I go down here and I say, all right, listen, let's just take it down a notch. Let's not get crazy. Let's go 3 to 5 bets we feel really strong about. And I looked for this weekend and I put out 17 bets. So here's what I have. I have Xavier Robinson, Oklahoma's running back. I feel like this is the lock of the week. Over 50 rushing yards. I like Ole Miss to cover 13.5 and 7 in the first half of that game.
Ooh, I hate that one.
Why?
I think Florida is being undersold. They're going to play their hearts out for their next coach. Come on, Chris. You know it's coming. There's a good team in Florida. I get it. They got crushed last week.
Yeah.
Mark Stoops owns old Florida, man. That was a Mark Stoops master class is all that was. So if DJ, and this is a big if DJ Lagway doesn't self-destruct out here, I think I'm picking Florida. I like Florida in the points.
Okay. The 14.5, the half, like the hook is kind of bizarre. Somebody asked earlier, anytime touchdown. I kind of like Faison over 34.5 yards for one. I think you can get Sellers over 20.5. I don't like that because rushing yards or sack yards count against your rushing yards. And I think he's going to get sacked a bunch this weekend.
Wait, that's a bet you can make that Carolina will score a touchdown?
No, what?
I don't understand. Anytime touchdown.
Oh, no. So anytime touchdown is a bet you can make for players. So, like, you can bet on the team total points. I do that all the time. I did that a couple weeks ago with Oklahoma. And I think going into the Oklahoma games, the team total for South Carolina was 18.5. And I was like, there's no way they score more than 17 points. And they didn't. I think, for instance, like this weekend, LSU and Arkansas, the team total for Arkansas is 25.5. And for LSU, it's 31.5. And I last week I played Bama under their total and LSU under their total, and that hit. This week I like for my anytime touchdown, Harlem Berry, the oh boy, B Brony. Harlem Berry,
the fumble master.
They are, but he's also, they're playing the worst defense in the SEC. It's Arkansas's defense is not just the worst in the SEC by like 30 yards for run defense. It's the third worst in the conference in the last 4 years combined. Do you have a lock of the week, Mike, that you think is going to be better than anything else?
Lock of the week. Let's see. Yeah, I do have one. It is oh crap. I screwed it up. Yeah, lock of the week. Sorry. A&M over.
Oh, you jerk. Give me a different one then.
Forgot what program I was on.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Glad you're here every Friday.
Give me Tennessee, New Mexico State. Josh Heupel always creams these little teams he should. And I think they'll even do it with the backup. The spread opened at 40-something. I think it's down to like 39.
39.5, yeah.
I got Tennessee scoring 69 this weekend. So.
I don't think you're wrong. I took Tennessee -10 in the first quarter. This is one of my favorite things. I love having to see all that. Yeah, I do my best.
And then he comes on my show, and the fans are like, "Oh my goodness, does this man know anything other than profanities?" I'm like,
I will say, and listen, I love you guys. I love this job. I get very excited to talk about college football and especially South Carolina stuff. That's enough, B Brony. That's enough. But no, one of the fun things we get to do every week is obviously we'll have the live reaction show. This week will be a little bit different because it's just as luck would have it, we have South Carolina and A&M's on at 11 Central, so 12, and then LSU's at 11:45. I'll be in Tiger Stadium covering that game, and then also I'll have my computer up watching the South Carolina game like I do. Like I've had to do once this season. So I'll have that coverage for you, but the post game will be a little bit later. But a fun thing, and listen, admittedly, it's not a PG show, and I make no bones about that. But every Monday, I do an hour-long show with Mike, and he lets me do about at least 5 minutes every week where I get to just unleash all my not suitable for work comments and language and four-letter words about South Carolina unfiltered, which I really enjoy. Because
he touches his glasses a
lot. I'm doing this the whole time. All right, let's get out of here, Mike. Tell everyone where they can find you. You do a great job, and I appreciate you joining us every week as well.
Yeah, the show's That SEC Podcast, #1 SEC show on Apple and Spotify, and probably YouTube too at this point. So go check us out. And I'm SEC Mike. For more shenanigans, just search me out here.
Yeah. All right, dude. We'll get at you next week. I appreciate you. Good luck
coming.
this weekend to everyone with your bets. Also, go Cox. Do our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unleash the
Nope.